Okay, so this is Richard here at Evolution MMA, Naperville and Schaumburg. Happy to be here with my good friend, my sparring partner, my teammate, Tom Shoaff. He is a rising MMA star, huge fan base, great record. We're real excited to interview him here today. We feel very honored to have had him as a coach and an outstanding person and an outstanding representative of the MMA sport, Jiu-jitsu, boxing, Muay Thai, everything. You've done it all.
Yeah.
So we're going to get to know him better. I know I'm real excited to hear some of the answers to his questions so I can get to know him better. I'm sure a lot of your fans are real excited to get to know you better.
I hope so.
So we're all real excited. We're going to get him in the hot seat. We're going to ask him some questions. Boom. Boom.
Perfect.
So, Tom, when did you start training and why?
I started training just after I turned, or actually just before I turned 18. I had my first fight just after I turned 18. But to be honest with you, I started training because I was watching a lot of the UFC and the fights on TV and whatnot. That was right around the time The Ultimate Fighter got big. I was telling people that I knew mixed martial arts, and one thing led to another, and I had to back up my words. I had to walk the walk as opposed to talk the talk, and I started training and had my first fight just after I turned 18, and just kind of went from there.
And what is your first fight was at 18? What was, it was an amateur fight. What was your amateur record?
My amateur record was 18-1 in MMA. I had a Muay Thai fight that I won, and then I had a couple of boxing matches that I won as well.
Okay, so you're a pro fighter now. You got a huge fan base. I've been to your fights. We love your walkout, by the way. It is the craziest walkout ever. Hopefully, Crystal here can cut to one of your walkouts because we love it. You look like Bane from Dark Knight.
Yeah.
But anyways, so did you wrestle in high school?
I wrestled in middle school and wrestled in high school. Everybody knows that I can box. I can stand up. I'm not scared to get into a striking match with you. So they think that it'll be a lot easier if they take me down. Not necessarily the case. I actually have more submissions than I do knockouts. And if you do good enough research on my record, you'll be able to find that out because I do train just as hard in my jiu-jitsu and my wrestling as I do in my striking.
What advice would you give to kids that are looking up to you? I mean, you have a huge fan base. I've been to shows before, and I have not seen reactions like I've seen to your crowd. And I've also seen a lot of kids at the crowd, and you're at the same time of being this guy coming out all crazy and whatever. I know you. People know you personally. You're such a nice guy. What would you tell kids that are like trying to follow in your footsteps? And
I work with a lot of kids, and I have for a long time. I used to teach jiu-jitsu. I've taught wrestling for a little while. Now I teach boxing to kids. The best advice that I can give anybody really is just put your heart into it. Plain and simple. Whether you're young or you're old, or you're in really good shape, or you're just starting out, or whatever the case may be. Have love for whatever it is that you're doing, whether it's fighting or anything. Whether it's going to the gym or going to play soccer or whatever it is you enjoy doing. Enjoy doing it. It's kind of like the old phrase, be where you're at while you're there. If you're coming to the gym, be at the gym. Soak up as much knowledge and learn as much as you can while you're there, and move on. But especially to the younger generation is, don't be afraid to lose. There's a saying in jiu-jitsu, you either win or you learn. And that is, you could apply that to life, you could apply that to anything.
You're the nicest guy, which is, it's so funny because every time I've hung out with you, you're all smiles and nice and jokes, and we go to the bars, we hang out. I saw you after one of your MMA fights. Yeah. You were breaking up a fight at a bar, and I was thinking, what a nice guy, man. That's so funny.
Yeah, I mean, there's no sense in being mean.
Right.
I'm saying plain and simple.
Seems like the tougher you get, maybe the more...
That's really what it comes down. It kind of goes to that old phrase, when you're growing up and you're getting bullied and whatnot, your mom tell you just walk away, you got nothing to prove. Well, when you know that you can walk into a room and you can beat up 90% of the people in the room, you tend to not have worries.
And in your case, it's probably like 99.9.
Hey,
unless you're in some crazy room.
Everybody gets lucky.
All right. It's funny you should say that people underestimate your jiu-jitsu because I said the last match I saw with you, you did a butterfly sweep, and the guy pretty much went from one side of the ring and flipped over to the other side of the ring.
Yeah,
what about jiu-jitsu do you love the most?
The ability to inflict your will on somebody without doing, I don't know, without punching them. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love boxing. I love standing up. I love standing in the pocket and moving and trading and throwing punches. But there's a completely different rush that you get from taking somebody down and just imposing your brute strength on them and watching them go to sleep, you know, with your bare hand. It's primal. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I like about jiu-jitsu is it's you get to impose your will on people, and it's tricky. You know, I move here, you move here, you go this way, I go that way. You know, type of situation. It's tricky. It's fun.
It's like human chess.
Exactly. Yeah.
Very good. You've been training. Steve Cologne helped you refine some of your striking skills. Is that true?
Yeah, I started working with Steve a couple of years back. Just kind of moving back or traveling back and forth from here to Indiana, and he has really taken my MMA game to another level. Especially with my conditioning and you know, my body hardening and whatnot. You know, like I said, I had done a lot of traditional boxing training, and here I do a lot of traditional Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but I don't really have the blend or the marriage of the true mixed martial arts, and that's what I get out with Steve. You know, we work in the cage, we're working the striking into the takedowns. You know, the submission defense into the ground and pound, you know, passing the guard into, you know, throwing elbow. I mean, we just mix the whole MMA game together, and that's where Steve has really taken my game above and beyond where it was a few years ago. It's just tried and true traditional MMA.
We love you, Steve Cologne. Okay. So your pro record is
6 wins and 0 losses.
Your next fight is against?
His name is Kurt Kinzer. He's 7-0.
Tom, you know, I've competed a lot of times for jiu-jitsu, and I can tell you this. I didn't wrestle in high school. The butterflies that I would get before a match, literally, it's almost indescribable. Mm-hmm. I can't imagine what it's like before you step in a ring. Can you tell me a little about that? How you prepare? How you deal with the stress?
You know, it's different between competition and fighting. I did wrestle in high school. I did, and I have done a handful of jiu-jitsu tournaments and whatnot. The butterflies are always going to be there. You're always thinking about, you know, what's happening, what's going on, you know, what your opponent's going to do, what your opponent's like, especially when you're competing. You've got 4, 5, 6 matches a day. You get a lot of butterflies because you just don't know. You know, the anxiety of the unknown is what gets to a lot of people during sport competition. As far as fighting goes, I feel like the butterflies are there, but it's different. It's more of, like, you know, like I was saying before, with the jiu-jitsu aspect. It's very primal. It's one of those feelings that you get. You know, the commission comes back and they call your name and they tell you, you know, you're getting ready to walk out, and you're in the back and you're waiting for your music, and you hear, but it's quiet. You know, it's one of those things where when you're watching a movie and there's a car accident and everything, you know, goes quiet, and then you hear that high pitched ringing. You know, that's what it's like. You start to, in that moment, you're so fixated on the opponent in front of you and the task at hand, and you're going over the last 6 to 8 weeks of your life and everything that you've worked on and you prepared for, and you're asking yourself, have you done everything that you were supposed to do to be prepared for this fight, to go out there and to win, you know, and to make your family proud, and to persevere, and you know, to have the willpower to do so.
One of the last questions here, you know, us being Evolution MMA, Naperville and Schaumburg, you know, our teams love you, we support you, we come out. Maybe there's some feedback you could give us on our school.
I love this school, and nobody will ever convince me otherwise. You know, the people who come in here, they're fantastic. They're down to earth. There's no ego here. Everybody's very friendly. I love this school. Like I said, I've been with these people for almost 4 years, and I've had the options to go elsewhere and move on, and I haven't. You know, there's excellent instruction. There's excellent partners. There's killers on the mats. They have great kids programs, great striking programs. Evolution team has as a human being and as a fighter has molded me into the person that I am today, and nobody will convince me otherwise.
That's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you, man, for such nice feedback on our school. We're real happy to hear such things and to have had you here. And we're wishing you the best and hoping that you get to the next level. You deserve it. Nobody does. Nobody's a better representative of the sport. We're wishing you the best, man. We thank you for your interview.
Yeah.
And brothers keeper.
Absolutely, man.
Love you, buddy.
Love you
Love
too.
you.
Boy.